This is a pretty cool fuel can. You can see that it's absolutely been shot to hell. So what we're going to be looking at today in a little more detail than before is the actual Camp Frederick Butte, which, if you don't know, is a civilian conservation corps camp that was out here in the Oregon desert. Hi, I'm Brian from Northwest Bronco. Welcome back to the channel. So let me tell you what's going on tomorrow, which is the main reason why I'm out here, is I'm actually meeting up with the ADV with Roscoe and Coyote Works and a couple other fellas. Now there's a good chance that Charles is going to meet me out here a little bit later on tonight to camp, but we'll see. It kind of depends on his schedule. So what we're going to be looking at today is actually Camp Frederick Butte, which is a civilian conservation corps camp. And we'll go into a little bit more detail in a minute on exactly what those are. But there was about 7 of those camps in the state of Oregon that I know of. If I'm wrong, put it in the comments below about any of this information. But I'm going to do the best I can. So there's about 7 or 8 of them in the state of Oregon. They existed, all the way down south to the coast. There's a couple of them out here in the Oregon desert. In fact, if you go back a couple videos, I actually did, the Camp Gap Ranch, which is over there by Glass Butte, which is about, 30, 40 miles east of where I'm at today. Now, in case you don't know what a civilian conservation corps camp is, I'll give you a brief history. Now, the CCC actually ended up being one of the most successful programs in the U.S. history, and they were extremely popular, especially with young people when they turned 18 and they wanted to get out and start making some money. Now, Camp Frederick Butte, which is the camp that's behind me here, actually it was a part of the Taylor Grazing Act, which started around 1934, and this camp was actually established in 1937, and I believe it went all the way until 1942, about when the war started, because they needed those young people for a war effort, and that's when this whole thing shut down. Now, CCC camps were so popular that when they first announced they were going to start doing them, about 87,000 people signed up in the state of Oregon to work. So according to one CCC worker who actually worked in one of these camps, he said that you'd make about $5 a paycheck and then 20 of it would go home to his mother. So he'd get 5 and then the government would send $20 of it home to his family. So now that you've learned a little bit of history about CCC, let's go ahead and take a look at Camp Frederick Butte. So I was actually out here with my friend Craig recently, and we were looking around and we were looking at this concrete slab here, and I said, well, what do you think this is? And he said, well, you can see the drains in the bottom here. So our best guess would be that this would have been their shower room here. So not only do we think the shower room was here, but there's also a lot of drainage that comes down right here into an underground spot over here, and then also is the big cistern. So it only makes sense that he's probably right, that this probably was the wash area. And just because everything that has to do with water is kind of in this general area here. So right now I'm standing where I believe the barracks would have been. Because if I look at the old black and white photo of back in the day, the aerial shot, it shows them all lined up right here. So this whole open area here would have been their living area. So I'm actually headed to the back right now where the barracks would have been, because there's kind of a foundation back there I saw on satellite. So we're going to take a look at that. So behind the barracks there was some kind of a building right here. And just from taking a look at it, I couldn't really tell you what it is, but it is kind of cool that the foundation still exists. So there's actually this really long vault right here with a big old pipe that comes out of here and goes through to the next one that looks just like this right next to it. And this is kind of behind the barracks as well. So it might have been actually a big restroom, which would kind of make sense since it's all just right behind the barracks. This is a pretty cool fuel can. You can see that it's absolutely been shot to hell. Here's where the majority of the cans are right here, which is more in the front of the camp, kind of like more where I assume the admin buildings would have been. So maybe this is right next to their chow hall. It's an old sole of a shoe. You can see the nails right there. Old rusty nails holding it on. Wonder how many miles this thing saw, but it's kind of cool to see somebody actually use this at one time. All right, well, I think we've seen pretty much everything there is to see over here at this Camp Frederick Butte. What I'm going to do is take you across the street to take a look at the big can dump, which is the remains of the garbage of this this CCC site here, but it's starting to get later in the afternoon, and I got to find a place to camp out here, and it's going to be a cold one tonight. I think tonight it's going to be about 17 to 20 degrees. So let's go ahead and hop in the Bronco, take a look at that gigantic can dump, and then we'll go from there. All right, so we made it across the street down the road a little bit from the CCC camp, and this is where they dumped all their debris. So there wasn't a lot of it over there, but a lot of it is here, and it runs all the way along this road and then across the road as well. So there is a huge amount of debris. So if you're a can guy like me and you like coming out and finding stuff like this, there's everything from the soles of shoes to old china. There's even these tops of bottles here, lots of these. Glass everywhere, so it really kind of gives me a feel for the way they lived back then. It's just kind of a neat thing that I thought I'd show you, but we need to get down the road because it's starting to get dark. All right, we made it to camp, and I've never been in this spot before, but it's pitch dark, so I'm not really sure exactly what's around here, but Charles recommended this spot. He's gonna be out here at 10 o'clock evidently, and it's about 5:15 now. So I'm gonna go ahead and get our camp set up, and we'll do a little bit of dinner and go from there. All right, so for dinner tonight, I'm gonna do something really kind of simple. I'm just gonna do a mountain house, but I'm gonna do the chicken and dumplings. And the chicken and dumplings is by far my favorite mountain house meal. All right, so while my food is rehydrating, I'm gonna go ahead and do my usual thing here and put on my toe warmers and my hand warmers. So I put the hand warmers in my coat pocket, and these old toe warmers, they just stick to the bottom or the top of your socks. I like to stick them on top of my socks. It seems to work better that way. All right, I'm gonna pour myself just a splash of Johnny Walker here just to warm up the old innards a little bit. All right, so for the chicken and dumplings, you gotta add a pack of Frank's hot sauce to it. Trust me, it makes it way better. And a little bit of pepper. All right, a lot of pepper. All right, the next thing you gotta do is just kind of cut the bag down so it's not so tall. And dinner is ready. Take a look at that. You know, when it comes to mountain house, I generally like the more kind of home style ones. So I like chicken and dumplings, biscuits and gravy, pasta primavera. You know, the beef stroganoff's okay. You know, I like those ones the best. Now, the ones I really don't like, I need to try them again sometime because it's been a few years. Maybe my tastes have changed, but I really do not really like the Italian ones. So the lasagna, spaghetti, some people like them, and I probably need to give it another try, but I generally don't like the Italian ones. Now, one I haven't tried because I don't like curry, but everyone seems to say it's really good, is the yellow curry. That seems to be a really good one. So I'm just going to go ahead and have my meal here and a little bit of whiskey, and probably just kind of hang out up in the tent for a while until Charles shows up at 10 o'clock. So I'm going to have my dinner and catch up with you guys probably again for bedtime. All right, it's about 10:30 at night, and Charles made it to camp. So we're going to go ahead and go to bed, and we'll see you in the morning for breakfast.
Underneath it.
Yeah.
You know,
Or on the
the
stove
tin.
and made toast.
Made
Or
some
right,
kind of
sure.
a makeshift burner or